Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Woodstock, Georgia, it's time for Cherokee Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
Welcome to another exciting and informative edition of Cherokee Business Radio. Stone Payton here with you this morning. And today's episode is brought to you in part by the Business RadioX Main Street Warriors program. For more information, go to mainstreetwarriors.org. This is going to be a fantastic episode, gang. Please join me in welcoming to the broadcast with Guardian Insurance Solutions, Mr. Justin Deweese. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Oh, it is a delight to finally have you in the studio. You and I have crossed paths. We've seen each other in several environments, maybe Young Professionals of Woodstock, but definitely Woodstock Business Club, yeah?
Yeah. So I've been at this thing for 4 months. I moved here a year ago to Cherokee County.
Yeah?
And man, 4 months ago, I got out. Someone told me about Woodstock Business Club. I went there, learned about Canton Business Club, Ball Ground Business Club. Many different outlets. And so I love people. If you've ever done the DISC profile, I'm a high I, 99 I. So that's an influencer, an extroverted type personality. So I just like getting out there and making a lot of friends. Yeah.
So you're a staple in all these places.
Yeah. And it's not just about like going to like, hey, send me business. That's not how you do it. Nobody likes that guy. People do business with people that they like, they know, and trust. It's just, It's funny. I was standing up in one of the groups one day and I stood up and I said, hey, I thanked a couple of people for referrals. And I said, you know what's crazy? Thanks for sending me referrals. I got so used to becoming friends with everybody. I was like, oh yeah, we do business together. Yeah, it was crazy. A few realtors, they sent me referrals. I stood up and I was like, thanks to Javon. Thanks for Angela for sending me referrals. And while I was standing up, it just hit me right then. I was like, thanks for doing business with me. Like, I'm just used to being your friend and you're sending me business. I was like, oh yeah, this is called a business club. That's why we're here. So yeah, I kind of got out here 4 months ago and my goal was to meet Cherokee County in a few months. So I met a lot of people in Cherokee County, specifically in the business field over the last few months.
So what compelled the move, man? What brought you down here?
My kiddos. Yeah, man. So my whole life I served full-time ministry. Like somebody came into my life when I was 17, changed my life. Like they taught me, like my dad was in jail. My mom was working all the time. And this guy came onto my high school campus and became a mentor to me, taught me how to make a budget, taught me how to date girls, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I ended up going to college, got some of my master's just because of the influence of someone in my life. And I was like, dude, you get paid to hang out with me? And he was like, yeah. Little did I know he made like 30 grand a year and he raised off support from businesses and stuff. But I was like, I want to do that. So I went off and did that. Unfortunately, whatever, we go through tough times in life and we get down, but you have to get back up. I went through a divorce 4 years ago. So after a whole career of ministry, loving people, pouring into people, went through a divorce, worst time of my life. Long story short, I'd started insurance, and insurance, you make zero day one. You don't make a lot of money. You sell one policy at a time. And I do home and auto, work with a lot of realtors and loan officers. And so financial planners. And so I may make $100. I may make $300 per client. So you need a lot of clients over a lot of years, to kind of build that up. So it took me a few years to build that up. I built that up and finally moved here a year ago, hang out with my kids all the time. Got them all signed up in acting and basketball, soccer, and baseball. I was like, all right, you guys have not been doing sports for a few years. Like, I need to get you involved in the community. I want to get in the community. So I want to tell you something. Chattanooga, I love it. Aesthetically looking, Chattanooga, Tennessee, that's where I came from. Beautiful people, beautiful place. But man, coming to Cherokee County, you guys are blowing my mind, like for real. I love everybody. Like at these business groups, I'm like, dude, there's another insurance agent. There's another insurance agent. And I even looked at a mortgage loan officer one day, and I said, do I need to leave this meeting? I don't want to like take business from that guy. And he goes, listen, dude, there's like 7 or 8 mortgage loan officers in here. You're going to get business. Don't worry about it. And so, 4 months ago, just got out in the community and haven't looked back. It's been great.
Don't you just love the way that this business community, and I do think it's county-wide, the way they roll, man, because that is exactly how everyone is. There's plenty of business for everyone. There are so many folks from the same discipline who you will find collaborating, and I think it's that heart of service, right? They put the client first, or even people who are not going to be their client. They still try to figure out how can we help this person, and I just love that.
It's insane and it's contagious and it's a culture. Because if you're doing that with somebody and I see that, and then I look at somebody else, they're doing that with somebody and I see that, I start doing that, and everyone just becomes like that. Even other insurance agents, when someone celebrates them, hey, this guy sent me business, I'm not like, man, I wish I would be sending them business. I get pumped because they know somebody locally that they like, know, and trust that's sending them business. And I'm like, all right, man, I'm glad that guy is killing it. I don't think I want his business. You root for everybody, even in your own profession. Yeah, it's insane.
So why insurance, man? What drove you to that arena?
So this isn't all right. So it's not a sexy story from the beginning. So what happened is, so ministry, it's all about loving people. I mean, the most I ever made was about 50 something grand a year in ministry. You're not in that for the money.
Yeah.
And my wife at the time, she stayed at home. So, I mean, I had a decent car, a decent house or whatever. I get here in the business world. I'm like, man, there's some ballers out here making some money. It just opened my eyes. Honestly, so I was in Chattanooga, I was playing tennis with my buddy Brian, and I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Like the church gave me a severance, which was cool, because I needed to leave kind of the church and focus on marriage, and I got divorced right around that time he goes, you got to do insurance. And I was like, insurance? Like, don't I need suspenders, a pocket protector, and glasses? Because when you think of insurance, you think of a lot of numbers and, insurance adjuster claims and all that. I was like, I don't know anything about that. He goes, no, man, don't worry about it. It's all about knowing people. Yeah, you need to know the product and what you're selling, but it's all about knowing people. And I didn't realize that, but I guess I had lived that in ministry because I'd go on high school campuses. So here's a good quote for business and ministry. So to reach the kids, reach the youth that no one else wants to reach or no one else is reaching, you've got to go places no one else is going and do things no one else is doing. Same thing for business. In business, how do you blow up your business? How do you do this? All this stuff. Well, you need to go places no one else is going and do things no one else is doing. So you can get creative, you can get strategic, you can have fun with it, that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're playing tennis one day, and he's like, go meet my guy. And I went and met his guy, and I was like, all right, man, let's do this thing. So he on-ramped me. He was very gracious. He gave me a couple. Mortgage loan officers are kind of like my best referral because those are the people that are either refinancing a house or if you're buying a house. My goal is to talk with them and to say, like if you're refinancing, hey, Stone, who's your current insurance company? Get a quote from them. But man, if you don't mind, I want my guy Justin to call you. Like, you'll love him. He's a really good dude. He's a broker. They've got 30 different companies. 8 or 9 times out of 10, they're going to get you the best rate. His inside sales girl, her name's Jessie. So you actually have names. You're not calling a 1-800 number. Yeah. And it's just easy. And they set that up in a group text or an email. I call them right away. We turn it around next day. So yeah, so it's kind of easy, but my job, I serve as like director of business development. So my job is just to go bring on clients. So the client is the realtor, it's the loan officer, it's the financial planner. But what I love, what you're talking about before in the culture, because when I talk to clients, or I may not even talk to all of them, a lot of clients will go through Jessie. So she's like an extension of me. But what that allows me to do, that saves me 35 to 45% of my week. So even from a business strategy, I have 35 to 45% of my week to go do something else.
Yeah.
What am I doing? I'm going back to the realtor, the loan officer, financial planner, and say, how can I help you grow your business? So I've jumped on there, helped them out with Google reviews, helped them out with their Facebook business. I love kind of networking, marketing, and I'm kind of like a free business consultant for them. And so for me, I love that because I love, like, you're a business radio show. Like, I'm on cloud 9 right now because I didn't realize how much I love business because I don't really think I thought of church as business, but I always studied churches. Man, I studied the best pastors, the best communicators across the country. Some were very bold and some were very sharp and some were very funny. They did a good job walking through storytelling. And I studied all those because I want to be the best communicator, right, in the church world. And then I get into the business world and I'm like, whoa, how do you run your business? What do you do? That's cool. And my brain for the last 4 years has been just learning a lot. And then coming here to Cherokee County, man, it's like the perfect fit. You go through all those. I honestly felt 4 years ago like God dug a grave, threw me in it, and was like, you're done. Like it. As I walk through that, I understand that wasn't God. That was a lot of me and my personal decisions that I made, but I realized that he's also grabbed the shovel and he was like, hey, let me dig you out of this grave that you put yourself in and let me give you life. And I feel like I've been living life to the fullest. And through business, man, like so to be a pastor, people have different ideas of what it means to be a pastor, Some people have some weird beliefs, and maybe rightfully so. Maybe they're in some kind of weird church or whatever. Some of those things some churches get weird, but there's a lot of flipping cool churches around Cherokee County that are actually about being in the schools and being in the community. And that's part of what I want to do. And I am doing right now. I'm setting up to take business, maybe church, and go into the schools to reach people like me. Because if that guy did not go into my campus, I don't know who I would be and I don't know what I would be today. And so I think every kid in Cherokee County, one thing's called the birthday club. It's not going now. I want to get it started where every kid in an elementary school in Cherokee County gets a cupcake, a happy birthday pencil, like a little funny eraser, and a high five. Because they may not get that at home. They may come from a abusive, emotionally, physically, household. But what can we do to come alongside what the teachers are already doing to try to encourage those souls, lift those spirits, and maybe they can be on a business radio show one day versus just doing whatever, living a mundane life. They can be put in a leadership position to make a difference. So I know I went on a little rampage there from insurance to my mission, but insurance is awesome. It's smart. It's strategic. You get residual income. You don't make much up front, but you have to be in it for a while. But the ultimate goal of my life is to help people get to the next level, whether that's a business owner, whether that's a kid in elementary school or middle school or high school.
No, this is exactly what we love to hear from our guests, because these are the kinds of things that we can apply in our own life in our own way to help us. Our vocation might be the means, it might be the tool set, but many of us, a lot of us, I think, have a larger mission that we're trying to live into. Something you might appreciate, and you may already be well aware of it, but there's this outfit called Kid Biz Expo, and I too have a tremendous affinity for young people, and in particular, young people who have a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit that may have already been tapped or could be tapped. You heard me mention Main Street Warriors at the top of the program. Yeah. Well, because of the Main Street Warriors, we're able to provide some programming for nonprofits and veterans, but also youth. And Kid Biz Expo, they had their expo, their most recent one right here on the green here in Woodstock, right there behind Reformation. Another wonderful institution, in my opinion. And we actually, Sharon Klein, the lady who works with me, she interviewed a bunch of the kids. They were all running businesses. And I've said this before, and I'll share it with you. Man, you talk about wisdom beyond their years, because they had been exposed to the structure, the rigors of setting up a business and getting clients and buying inventory and understanding the difference between, what it cost them to get the goods and then their margin. It was fascinating. And I feel like when we can provide these kinds of opportunities and open their minds to this pursuit, I feel like you just never know what kind of impact you could have for a long, long time beyond that.
Man, I love how tightly connected this community is, because obviously you didn't know this, but I think they had a speaker set up, and the speaker had to cancel for whatever reason. So BJ McCraney, he's a realtor in town. He's on the board of Kid Biz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he called me and he goes, "Hey, man, we had a speaker cancel. Do you want to go talk?" So it's funny you said that. I'm going Sunday. I think it's 3 o'clock. I think it's on my calendar. I think it's 3 o'clock to speak to them. And the title of the message is Know Your Audience. So I want to help the kids. All right, here's your business plan. How can you know your audience? And so something cool, my daughter, my oldest daughter, she's 15. She hasn't been a part of Kid Biz. She's going to go, and she wants to either be a veterinarian or like a dog trainer. She wants to do something with animals. And I shot her a message, and I was like, "Kylie, do you want to go? And I can use you as like an example." So it's cool to put my own daughter up, but then also use her as a kind of a sample size. Like who should Kylie's target audience be? So here's an example, like for my business. So I go to all these clubs. A lot of people in business can spin their wheels over and over and over, going to clubs, being a quote unquote professional networker, and not close any business. Like there were a lot of people in Chattanooga. They were at all the things you would have thought, and they just did not close a lot of business. And you're like, why not? Is it personality? What is it? It's probably a bunch of things, but one thing we were talking about this before we started getting on the air. Specific is terrific. The riches are in the niches, right? So who is your target audience? And so when I go to these clubs, I'll do some meetings with people that are just very intriguing to me, that may be outside of because I don't want to be so tunnel vision. Yeah. But if I want to grow my business, I really need to focus on realtors, loan officers, and financial planners. Here's why. Financial planners look at your finances and they're like, "Hey, your insurance looks high, or your home's worth $420,000. It's only written, your coverage is for $310,000. If your house burns down, you're not getting 400, something thousand to rebuild it. You're getting 300,000. You need to have your agent relook at that, or call my buddy Justin.
Talk to my guy.
So if I'm very specific with my target audience, I'll write commercial insurance, but I never stand up and say, "Hey, if you're a business owner, send me some commercial business." Mm-hmm. I'll do that, and we actually I'm a broker, so I have a lot of companies. We're actually very good at it, but I don't promote that. I'll write that, and I'll get you a very good, well-written policy at a good price that'll beat most people. But the riches and the niches specific is terrific. So at that Kid Biz, I'm going to talk about to everyone and have them write down. Can we narrow your audience down? I know you want to reach everybody. Right. You were talking to me on the podcast today about if you start a podcast and you want to reach everybody, there's a
niches are so much more powerful. So much more powerful.
What did you call that? You called it they're trying to reach everybody. I forgot what you called them. There's a bunch of experts popping up. Is that the phrase?
Well, I said overnight experts.
Overnight experts. That was
I was kind of dissing all these folks that are saying, we're going to make you rich in podcasting. This can be a very lucrative pursuit, and it should be, because we help people get large ROI.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of overnight experts popping up, and just what they're telling people is just flat out wrong.
Yeah.
They're probably making a little money on selling the courses or the books.
Yeah. See, I get that. I don't really want to go start my own podcast. I'd rather show up here and say, how can you help me? You know what I mean? Or I don't want to go start my own video company. I'd rather someone shoot a video and pay them money, because if I spend my time doing all that, the riches are in the niches. What if I spent 2 hours writing 3 or 4 policies that paid me $5,000-$7,000 to go pay for that video, or to go pay, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And no, we try to stay in our lane. And like, I'll team up with Ron Green or Jared and Tim, or Matt Thomas over there with a highlight reel. I'll team up with somebody who's also best in class.
Yeah.
There's plenty of money, but I want the client to get the best. And I'm probably a D- in video, but even if I was a B+, I don't want to do B+ work. I want, and it sounds like your value system is wholly consistent with that idea as well. Yeah. So let me ask you this. So my financial guy's name is Max. If he reached out to me and Holly and he said, you know what, you need to talk to my guy. I'm going to set you up. Give is it Jessica?
Jesse.
Jesse.
The inside sales.
Talk to Jesse. Talk to Justin. So what happens from there? Walk us through that process.
Yeah, so you're talking about like connecting and kind of passing referrals to each other? Is that what we're talking about? Or
I'm actually talking about if Max said, okay, you need to call Justin, here's his number, I'll set you up, and then I reach out and I make the call, then walk me through what happens between me and you or me. If it's me or if it's Jesse, what we say is hey, if the client's name is Jim, right? Hey, Jim, is this your first time buying a home? Or no, I bought 3 or 4. Oh, cool. Yeah, what's the address? We'll look it up. Oh, that's nice. When do you close? Sweet, cool. Well, listen, here's what we do. We're a brokerage. That means you may have like a State Farm, Allstate, USAA. They've got one company. You'll get one quote. We're a broker, so we have a lot of different companies. Now, you don't pay us. You pay the company, and the company pays us. That's how we get paid. So 80 to 90% of the time, we're going to have a better rate. At the end of the day, that's what people care about. I used to nerd out and go through the coverage because I thought everybody wanted to know what they're getting. Because it's like if you get a really nice $100,000 Land Rover, there's so many gadgets. I think you actually have to go through a couple-hour class to buy some of those, or else you don't know how to get it off the lot. Right.
You don't just go crank it up like you do my truck out there. You go like it's got hydraulic systems and all that. Like I used to try to onboard with all this nerdy insurance stuff, and people don't care. Now, some of your attorneys and your doctors and stuff, they care. Some of them don't. Like I was in the middle of telling somebody about my little presentation. He was like, Justin, listen, I trust you. Just write it.
Yeah.
I want to move forward with you. And I was like, whoa. So it taught me. So what we do now, instead of like nerding out through a policy, we'll say, hey, we got you very good coverage at a very good rate. Let me know if you have any questions or if you'd like to move forward, and we'll let your loan officer know, or we'll let your financial planner know. And we'll get a date, set this up on your closing date on your home, or if it's a financial planner, maybe at the end of your policy period this month, we'll get you started and we'll get you going.
I mean, going right back to that trust, right? So I would trust you because I have gotten to know you a little bit. Now I'm getting to know you better. If it was Max that set me up with you, instant credibility. If it's Darren Hunter, and I'm working some sort of mortgage through him, and he says, well, talk to Justin. Let's get to all the. You automatically have that trust, and then you just build it from there. I think I already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. You spoke earlier in the conversation about having a mentor. are you finding opportunities now to mentor others, and what is that like?
Man, like, you got 7 more hours on this show, because I will go off. I've got to come back sometime. I'm going to invite myself back if you don't invite me back. But so, yes. So it's funny. So I've been here for a year. I switched companies 4 months ago. So when you switch insurance company, that's not the smartest thing to do. But my back end systems, it just wasn't working at the previous company. Yeah. And I've got to stand behind what I'm selling. And so I got on this company that's all about home and auto, and I thought about getting out of insurance. I'm like, I'm not starting this again, because you start all over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you start from the bottom, but the way I'm able to scale it, I'm able to do that. So now, even in 4 short months, I've come up with a system. I kind of want to write like a little book or training manual and kind of put on Amazon or whatever, like to show insurance agents how to kind of do what I've done. I've got another month or 2 to finish the model. But in doing that, I'm talking with 3 or 4 people right now that want to come and do insurance. And so now I'm able to serve I may move from business development director to more VP of sales and start bringing on people to go replicate what I've done and walk them through it. Shoot me a text, give me a call. Let's do a weekly meeting for 30 minutes or an hour, because it's so easy for me. But when you don't do it, or you don't know, it's like anything, if we went outside and I never drove a stick shift, and you're like, hey, you want to drive my car? And I'm like, man, that's a nice car. I don't know how to drive the stick shift. Yeah. You'd have to be patient and walk me through it, and it'd take some time. If I just got out there and tried it by myself, I would jack up your clutch, have it in your car. I may get in a wreck, And so to be able to mentor people on the business side, but not even just in that, I've been doing some health stuff lately, mentoring people with health. Kid biz, I'm getting ready to do that. Like, I think I've got a serial entrepreneur type brain. I'm talking to a couple companies right now I may invest into. I don't want to own them. I don't want to run them. But these guys are very good at their craft, but they're not the best at marketing or sales. And I didn't major in marketing. I just major in being a high I. It's just how I was wired. And I think a lot of my past and understanding people and doing ministry and working with people all the time, business just comes so natural for me. And I'm like, God, how are you just giving me, even to be on a podcast today and doing the kid biz, I've already been given opportunities for leadership to talk to multiple people. And I think when you get pretty good at something, the bigger your audience, the better, because you don't have to say it 10 times. You can say it once where 10 people can hear it, or you can say it once where 100 people can hear it. Right. So through a podcast or through kind of kid biz, if there's, 5, 10, 15 kids there on Sunday, that's awesome. So mentoring, I went through all these personality tests. 2 of them kind of popped up and said, you're a cheerleader. You're like, yeah, let's go. So I'm a motivator and encourager. And another one said coach. I love coaching. The last 2 years my daughter played basketball, they went 8-0 and 8-0. They went 16-0. And I don't say that out of pride, maybe a little bit, if we're honest. You do. But I was very strategic. I took a very tall girl that was, a little awkward, that never shot a basketball in her life, and I put her under the goal every practice consistently. Hey, the little box behind the goal, the rim. I just said, hit that corner. She hit the corner. She was awful, but she got better and better. By the last game of the season, this girl that couldn't even hit the rim, 27 points in 5th grade.
Nice.
She doesn't play basketball anymore. She just lost her interest in that or whatever. That was back in Chattanooga. But the point is, being a coach, being a mentor, you see things other people don't see. If you ever done Clifton Strength Finders, there's one of the strengths is strategic. And strategic is one of those, you either have it or you don't. So I'll sit in meetings and I'll be thinking about stuff. I'm like, why is no one talking about this? It's not a pride thing that I see something everyone else doesn't see, but sometimes it is something you see that no one else sees, because you've done that and you've seen the failure, or you see where people are going. You're like, they're not going to make it, but they're so passionate about it. You have to watch them crash and burn, because they're not going to listen to you. I know a lot about that, because one of my, so I've got a phrase for you. Hopefully some of your audience doesn't get offended, but I used to ask, someone asked me the question, what's it like to be on the other side of me? And I think it's wise for people to ask their wife, their brother, their close friends, maybe your close 5 people, what's it like to be on the other side of me? And they may say, Stone, you are ... or Justin, you are kind of tense sometimes, or you get angry, or whatever it is. That way you can work on it. So I asked somebody that, I said, what's it like to be on the other side of me? And he said, honestly. And I said, well, you can give me a positive, negative, positive. That's a nice little sandwich, because I'm a people pleaser, and I want people to like me. And so he gave me some positive, but then the critique was this. He goes, you're an ask-hole. You're an ask-hole. He goes, you ask all these questions, but you don't listen to me. And I'm like, whoa. He goes, I don't really want to give you advice if you're asking and you're not doing anything about it. And I was like, whoa. So over the last year, I've been like, before I ask anyone something, I'm like, am I going to listen to them, or do I just want them to affirm what I'm already going to do? And so, yeah, to be a mentor, to be a coach, all those kind of things, I love to help people, whether it's a kid in elementary school, someone starting a business, someone on their health journey, or obviously someone in the insurance field. I really feel like I can make people a lot of money, which is crazy because I came out of ministry where I made 50-something grand a year.
Right.
But I feel like I can train and on-ramp people to make a lot of money following a system. And it's not a Justin Deweese sales system. It's just like, no, here's how you treat people. Here's what you do. It's all about numbers. If you go talk to 1,000 people and you're good, you're going to close X percent. If you're bad, you're going to close a lower percent. You're going to close a percent, do it, mess up, screw up, and get better, and you're going to close a higher percent, and then the sales are just going to come. So, yeah, I love mentoring. I love coaching. I love all that.
Well, and what's so fun about that, the idea of making money, the more money you make, my experience has been the more people you can help. And then the more people you help, the more money you make. And then the more money you make, the more. And I mean, at some point, once it hits a certain point, you couldn't stop it. You couldn't stop it if you wanted to.
You know,
right?
It's insane. I don't know what this is going to look like, how it's going to play out. But what I'm doing with insurance and some other things right now, one of my goals, and again, dude making 50 grand a year, like that's not a lot for 4 kids and a wife at the time, but that's the most I ever made. I'm used to that, so I like fun things. It'd be cool to drive a pretty sweet $100,000 car one day or whatever, but my goal is to give away half the money I bring in.
Good for you.
Because I don't need it. But you know what? There's a lot of Justin Deweese sitting in elementary, middle, and high school and college. My 2 best friends went off to college. I was so depressed when I was in college because my friends left and I was an extrovert and I was like, what do I do? And I just felt stuck at home while they went off to college. And yeah, so many different people, even I'm 41, 40-year-old man just sitting there that needs inspiration, that needs, you know what I mean? So how do we impact? There's so many great nonprofits in the community, and it's like one at a time. I'm not there yet, but I'm looking forward to getting to that point where I can give away half the money. And I even thought about, man, if a few things line up, and if I prayed about this, and I was talking to, so I'm back dating again. I got a girlfriend.
Good for you.
Her name's
Let's give her a shout out.
Yeah, her name's Jess, girl. So anyway, I was talking with her about it, and I was like, hey, I want to be praying because just say I made up a number. I said, just say I made $1.2 million 1 year. That's a lot of money. I said, would I give away 600 grand? And she said, Justin, the fact that you're even asking that question is showing that your heart is at least in the right place. She goes, I don't know if you would do it, but the fact that you're asking that question means your heart is in the right place. So I want to get, to give, and make a big impact in this community and across the nation and around the world, to be honest. Like with Wells, you can give. And I was talking with Eric Tilley in the business club, and he was talking about, I forgot the name of the nonprofit, but for like 8 cents a meal, you can feed these kids in Africa. And I'm like, 8 cents a meal, they eat all day. I think it's either one meal or all day. And I'm like, I want a lot of 8 cents meals that I can, I don't know what the math is, but man, if I get, so you can't give a ministry too much or they'll mess it up. You got to kind of give in portion where they don't get too prideful and overthink it, So I think just kind of divvying that out, that's going to be fun. Like, what if I had to hire somebody full time just to learn how to give out money to different, I mean, how cool is that? You know what I mean? But when you do that, you go reach the next stone, you go reach the next, thankfully my kids, even though I'm divorced, their mom does a pretty good job of kind of raising them and listening to them. I do the same thing. So my kids have even though it's a broken home, it's a healthy upbringing, but they may not all come from healthy upbringings. And so to go reach those kids and give them hope and mentor them that's what life's all about.
So if it's not too personal, tell us a little bit about your health journey. And I'm interested in the journey. Many of our listeners know I've been on a health journey as well over the last several months. And I'm interested in your perception of the impact it's having on the other aspects of your life and your ability to live into some of these things that you're trying to accomplish.
I appreciate you asking that. So it's crazy. So I started something called Isogenics, and what it is, so there's a Harvard, the lead scientist is from Harvard, so it's very reputable and it's very backed. So the way they do it through, instead of putting their products at Walmart or at GNC, they actually sell them through individuals because they want people to on-ramp you. And so I eat 5 times a day. your body, your metabolism, I just heard this recently, your metabolism is like a campfire. So you need to constantly feed it wood. If you feed it once at 8 a.m. and then once at 1:30, it kind of needs some more wood in between, or it's going to go out. It's not going to get the best process. So if you're feeding it period, that's good. But if you're feeding it healthy stuff or scientifically based stuff, so they've done double blind studies through all their products where they had zero control, and they published these in these high-end journals. And they've gotten, I don't know if you've heard of the, what's it called? It's called the Heart and Health Diet. They've beat that by like 2 times, which is like, I guess, America's leading diet. They beat it by twice. And so I've been taking this over the last couple of months. And so here's an example of the day. I'll have a shake. I had a shake this morning. I have a snack after we do this interview. And then I have a lunch meeting today. I'll go out to eat. Then I'll have a snack at 2 p.m. And then at 5 p.m. I'll have a shake. And I'm drinking a lot of water throughout the day, take some vitamins. That's it. That's what my day looks like. And so some people are like, man, it's so expensive. I have to go to, all these high-end, places and get all this organic food. So one shake is the equivalent to 5 plates of organic food. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
And someone kind of asked me a question. They were like, well, you mean you're not getting real food? You're not eating physical food? And I'm like, I eat physical food. I drink shakes too. And my buddy Eric was telling me, he said, think about broccoli. If you chew on a physical piece of broccoli, that's good. You're getting the nutrition out of it. But what if you overcook the broccoli and you kind of overcook all the healthy stuff that's in broccoli and you eat it? It's still going to taste the same, but you got zero nutrition. He said it's not necessarily the broccoli, it's what you're getting out of the broccoli. And so when they scientifically do these shakes and even the snacks, they've got these protein bars, chocolate and lemon, flipping phenomenal. That's another thing. A lot of times you think it tastes bad or you can't eat. Like sometimes I forget to eat because I'm full and I'm like, oh shoot, I should have eaten an hour ago, and I go eat. And so you don't have to starve yourself. You don't have to overpay. When I was in ministry and even doing business, I'm out a lot with people. And so I don't have time to think about, I'm kind of a perfectionist in whatever I do. So I don't have time to be a scientist and know everything and go home and cook. Like I'm a dude that doesn't like to cook. Some dudes like to cook. I don't. I'm not married right now, so like I don't have a wife at home that's cooking. And so it's just easy. It's quick and easy. I drink a shake, I grab a snack, put it in a little cooler but man, I lost 10 pounds before I got on the diet. And then I lost 11 pounds since I've been on it. And my goal weight was 185, and now I stay between 179 and 182. So I'm actually below my goal weight. Yeah. So aesthetically, I look the way I want to look. But it's more about losing. It's more about than just losing weight. Someone may need to lose 10 pounds. They got a little gut, 15 pounds. They want to get rid of that. You can do that in a month for real. But we also have a tight community. We stay together. We have like Facebook groups and stuff. Or someone may want to lose 100 pounds. A buddy of mine, he weighs 333 and he's trying to lose 100 pounds. He just let himself go, drinks several beers every day. He's like, dude, I need some accountability. I was like, let's go, bro. I just talked to him last night. Oh, he'll probably lose 100 pounds. He's already lost 12 in his first week. And it's that kind of thing. But it's healthy, it's safe, it's all those things, and you're not breaking the bank. I used to spend about $900 a month on groceries. Now I spend about $300 or $400 on isogenics and a couple hundred outside of isogenics.
Oh, wow.
So it's actually saving me money. So anyway, I don't want to be salesy about it, but it's a phenomenal product. And even just the way I feel, some people are like, well, you lost the weight. Are you getting off of it? And I'm like, no, because I'll just gain it back.
Right.
And it's such an easy system, and I feel good. It's not just about how you look, but it's about how you feel. Last thing. I've always heard this, but I've never really I guess known what that meant, but 80% of what you look like has to do with the kitchen. I heard a quote recently, abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym. If 20% of it is gym, think of all the cycling and treadmilling and all the hard work and all the sweating and all that. But then you go eat a couple meals over the next few days and you just kind of crap it away or whatever. You know what I mean? But you can actually eat some good food. Like I can eat a burger and fries every now and then if I want to, as long as you're following it about 80% of the time, you're going to it's going to fall off. Because think about when you're on a treadmill and you're burning up a shake, that thing's gone like that versus burning a burger and all the carbs and all that stuff. So you can still eat what you want every now and then, but 80% of the time, try to follow the program. Now that I'm under mine, sometimes I'll go out and eat 2 meals a day versus, 2 shakes. I'll just do 1 shake and 2 meals because I'm under my goal weight. Then the next day I'll probably do 2 shakes and 1 meal. I'll try to stay on it. And so, that's a little bit of my health.
So have you found that you have more energy, more clarity? Have you found that it's had a positive impact on your work and on your life mission?
Absolutely. So I can't explain. Here's the best way I can explain it. So I love playing basketball. I play 2 to 4 times a week.
Wow.
It's just my thing.
Yeah.
I go to the gym. I work out a little bit. I'm not a gym rat, but I love basketball. So I'm 5'11", white, and 41. The league ain't calling me Stone. Stone, the league is not calling my number. But check this out. I'm out there. I'm playing ball like I'm 25 years old. I did not play high school basketball. I tried out in 8th grade and I didn't make the team, and I just worked a lot during high school. I never tried out, I never played for high school basketball. Someone the other day goes, "Where'd you play college ball?" And I was like, "What?" Like that was like the best compliment anybody could give me. "Where did you play college ball?" Assuming I played somewhere. And I was like, "I didn't play college ball." But it's literally the weight's off. But think about it, man, when all the sugars and all the salts are detoxed and out of your body. Like in America, we just drive through because we're busy, right? That's why I like this diet, because it helps you out while you're busy. But it's insane, man. Like that, I guess that's the best analogy I can give you. Someone's like, "Would you play college ball?" I was like, "I didn't play college ball." So the way I feel, I wake up in the morning, I got healthy habits. I've, the Atomic Habit, there's been several books about habit coming out. I woke up today, I've already gone 3.5 miles before 8 o'clock, just cause I feel good. And that's the thing. If you don't feel good and you got salts and sugars weighing you down, your brain's not there. So to wake up and say, even to go walk a half a mile, and I'm not a walker, I hate walking, but what I do is I put in earphones and I start talking. I called my mom today, called my girlfriend today while I went on the walk, and I do 3.5 miles, and I'm like, I just walked 3.5 miles. Because what I really did was I talked on the phone and I listened to some inspirational music and some podcasts and stuff. So that's another thing. I knocked out 3 things: listen to music, talk to family and friends, and listen to some podcasts. I got educated. So it's insane while working out, like it's kind of like that combo thing. So yeah, it absolutely affects everything else in my life.
So you mentioned Atomic Habits. Big fan of that book and that whole idea. Speak to this whole idea of habits, goals, how you choose to approach that, if you would. I think our listeners would appreciate it. And I love asking people questions about these kinds of topics. By the way, guys, if you want to get a lot of free consulting, just get your own radio show. Also, if you like to read business books and interview a bunch of authors. So, but no, I'd love to get your perspective on how you approach habits, goals, disciplines, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
let me speak. I know some bits and pieces off the top of my mind of Atomic Habits, but where I really know is The Power of Habit. That's the one I read that twice. So you need to reward yourself with something. So to start a habit, you've got to do it X amount of times before the habit kicks in. I don't know that stat. It's in the book, but you got to do it X amount of times, but you need to reward yourself with something. So the book starts off in one of the earlier chapters about a lady that was way overweight, went through a divorce, just wasn't happy in life. And she smoked all the time. So she started going on walks, and she would give something to herself as a treat. So just say you had like a small little Diet Coke, or a piece of gum. Mm-hmm. Every time after you go on your walk, chew that piece of gum, because you're rewarding your brain, and you're training and retraining and untraining your brain waves to start to think, I like this. And so when you wake up the next day, it's like when you go in somewhere. The book talks about Febreze and the way they sold it, and they spent all millions of dollars trying to sell Febreze, and they couldn't do it. And finally they got to they're like, Febreze, it takes the stink out, all that, and it didn't work. And finally, they did all this psychological study, and it had this lady making her bed, and after she was done, she sprayed it, and it was like Febreze, just that extra mile or something like that. I don't remember that. I'm doing a bad job quoting it, but they studied it in the habit of just that little spray, that smell, everything's fresh. So why do I want Febreze? Because it's that final touch. You know what I mean? Right. So after the run, or after the walk, or after whatever you do, I'm going to chew that piece of gum, or I'm going to drink that Diet Coke, or whatever. And so your brain associates waking up in the morning instead of, do I want to run? And especially if you get a nutrition plan with it, you think, I want that piece of gum. And you may not even think about the gum. You just think running or walking. I don't even run. I just walk in my neighborhood. And I may not even think about that piece of gum, but I think of something delightful, because I think I feel good. I think I'm efficient because I'm strategic, because I'm getting these calls done and I'm listening to podcasts and music. I know it's healthy for my life, but then it's like I get that piece of gum at the end. So yeah, creating a habit turns into a lifestyle. And once that becomes a lifestyle, that becomes who you are. So here's the thing, I've always worked out, I've always been active, I've always played basketball, but no one's ever looked at me and said, hey, where'd you play college ball? You know what I mean? Right. So there's something about how you feel when you get to that point. And sometimes that point is like way distant in the future. That's what I love. I posted on Facebook the other day. I was like, hey, I'm looking to take on 10 people that want help on their physical and nutritional journeys, and I'm not charging you. Cause like I don't have a certification in physical fitness, but I'm an accountability partner. That's all they are. Like if you and I hit the gym for the next 3 months and we did a certain amount of things, we're going to look different in the next 3 months. If we add a nutrition to that, cause that's 80%, we're really going to look different, and that's all people need. It's an accountability partner to say, hey, insurance sales, as I bring people on and they're going to go sell, right. I don't have a magical formula. I've got some cool systems and processes that I think will help them make a lot of money. But it's weekly. Hey, did you do this? Did you do this? I know the right questions to ask. And so, so when you're starting those habits and you have a community around you, your life will change, man. And I've noticed, so I've been blessed. I meet on Monday mornings at 7 a.m. We meet early, but with 8 or 9 other guys, spiritually, physically / nutrition, mentally, psychologically, financially, they're all ballers, right? It's not all millionaires, right? But they're all, in all those areas of their life, they're thinking strategically. They've got a purpose. They have a vision in those areas. That saying, you are like the most common 5 people you hang out with? Those are my 8 or 9 guys every Monday morning, because I put the group together, but I'm not the quote unquote leader of the group. Maybe in some ways I am, but I'm asking them to lead. I'm asking them to lead different sessions because I want to learn from them. Yeah, I want to pour out what I'm learning, but I want to learn from them. And so a good leader of a group like that speaks 20% of the time. And the rest of the time, you let it popcorn around, because people need to think, they need to feel, they need to express. And so have you ever heard of, like, this may sound weird to you, have you heard of sound frequencies? Like you can type in 777 sound frequency hertz. I just learned about this yesterday, but it puts on a certain type, I don't know the science or the art behind the music, but if you put that on in the mornings and put on some headphones, it's just it's a very strategic, specific type of sound waves that retrain your brain.
Really?
And so my girlfriend does this. My mentor, Eric Tilley, does this. They put it on and they start to journal those sound waves. There's also affirmations you can do. You can look them up on YouTube, but it's kind of like saying, I will be this. Not I'm going to try to be this, but it's like I am this.
Right.
And some of that was weird for me, to be honest, at the beginning. But then when I listened to it, some of it's still weird, but as I listened to it, I'm like, I like her, obviously. I like my buddy Eric. They're doing this, and they're killers at what they do.
Right.
I'm going to try to do this. And so that's even a habit for me, trying to do those things kind of daily.
Well, and I think that's an important insight, and it took me way too long to figure this out. And it sounds so simple, and maybe it is, and I'm just a slow learner. But if you're in search of the habits that are going to produce the results that you want to produce, get out there and find people who are already accomplishing that which you wish to accomplish, and look for their habits, their disciplines, and emulate some of those. You don't have to emulate 12 at a time, right?
Yeah. Surround yourself with those people. I didn't even mention this, man. So like I'm doing the isogenics thing and I'm feeling good. And the first month I did it, $200 showed up in my account. And I was like, Eric, where's this coming from? I know you said I may make some money. Like instead of selling it to Walmart or GNC, they sell it through people so people can on-ramp them. Well, those people get reimbursed for that. They get kind of paid for that. And I'm like, the next month I had $400. I'm like, dude, I'm not selling your product. I'm just taking this and I'm excited about it. And a few people on Facebook, I posted a before and after picture on Facebook, and you could tell a significant difference. And people were like, what are you doing? And they signed up. It's $400. And I was like, bro. So I signed up my girlfriend, another guy, and I'm not out there recruiting, but also I do want people to feel healthy.
Yeah.
But I put a little effort into it, and one day I made $690. My goal isn't to necessarily make money for that. It was the health part, but the financial part's following. So you're going to notice a combo effect when you're doing all these mental things, spiritual things, psychological things, the financial things. It's all in one. So who you hang out with is very important. If you got some bros or some girls you've been hanging out with for years and they're cool, look at their lives. Are they successful in those areas, spiritually, financially, mentally, psychologically? Have they gone through counseling? man, I've been through 2 divorces. That's not a sexy thing to say on a podcast. Like
right.
That could be embarrassing, but you know what? I own it. It's my story, and I've learned from that, and I've healed from that. And it's not just one part of it. It takes 2 to tango, you know? But
Sure.
I used to put so much like, who am I? Like, why do 2 women not want to be married to me? Like, man, if I live in that, I'm living as Vic, the victim. Instead of like getting my head up and saying, you know, I'm not going to live as a victim. I'm going to get through this. So I did a year of counseling. My counselor said, hey, man, you don't need a date. He goes, don't be too lonely. Hang out with some boys. Hang out with some of your friends.
Yeah.
Don't be too lonely. You're going to go do something stupid. But don't be too busy because you need to sit in this. I was like, whoa. So I took some time off from dating for a while. So the fact that I'm with Jess and everything's going great, like I didn't look from her. I found her in church. Like it's crazy. I'll tell you that story another day. But anyway, it's cool. But all those things go together when you're with those people that are killers. And think about that. That's every area of life. I wanted to do some kind of something one day about the art of a 360-degree man or 360-degree person or a complete person, some kind of that idea. Because if we're made up spiritually, mentally, psychologically, you know, financially, all these things, it's like, who's the best at those? Like you said, like you even use other people for other video productions and whatever.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you want it to be the best. But it's like when you see a 360-degree man or woman, I need to be around them. What are they doing? What are their habits? What are their lifestyle choices and why? Don't just do it because they're doing it. Maybe you just do it because they do it first. Eric Tilley. So Eric Tilley, if you're listening, this dude's 50 years old and ripped. He's the most ripped dude I've ever seen in my life. I'm sure some of it's genetic, some of it's isogenic, some of it's just, he's not a gym rat either. He goes to the gym 3 times a week for an hour. That's it.
Wow.
But he's because 80% of it is what you put in your body. But all I knew at the beginning, I didn't know the science behind it. I didn't know any of that. I was just like, dude, what do I need to do to look like you when I'm 50? He was like, come on. And I signed up, lost, you know, and I already looked decent. You know, if I flexed just right and looked in the mirror, I could see about a 1.5, maybe a 2-pack, you know,
right.
But then I lost 11 pounds. My skin started to get tighter. I started to feel a certain way. So this is weird. I don't mean this in like a bragging way. I mean it because it freaked me out. So I was at the gym just like doing some curls, and you know how your veins kind of pop? I always thought that was cool when like dudes are in the gym, their veins are popping out or whatever. But like I looked in the mirror and I was like, holy crap. And it was me. It was like my veins, and my arms aren't huge, but I always thought it was cool like when you see the veins kind of pop out or whatever. Right. But it's like, I don't feel like I'm trying for that because I'm not. I'm just like following a diet and I'm working out a little bit. And anyway, so long story short, to say that, like I just saw him and I was like, what do I need to do to look like you? And I started that, and now I'm, you know, a few months in. So
I got to believe some of our listeners could tap into this interview, and some of them may hear it today live. Some of them may hear it 6 months from now, and at least momentarily be inspired.
Yeah. And
I can also envision, or at least this can happen to me, feel like overwhelmed with all the information and the insight. So before we wrap, I'd love to, if we can, let's leave them with just like 1 or 2 little action steps, just a little, you know, a couple pro tips we call them sometimes, just something to get them going in the right direction. If you were to pick 1 or 2 things to just start doing today on this journey.
Let's do light, medium, and deep, because you're going to have people that are going to get overwhelmed. Okay. People that need a little bit more inspiration. People that are like, what do I do now? I want to jump all in. You know, sometimes you got to watch out for that too. A light tip, I'd say wake up, drink a full glass of water, and just go on a walk. Even if it's raining outside, just go on a 30-minute walk. Get your shoes wet. Be consistent at it. Do that for 30 days and see what happens, right? Kind of an intermediate step if they wanted to meet with me or me and you together, we could all meet, grab some lunch or whatever. Just for inspiration, I'd love to hear their story. I can tell them a little bit more about my story if they wanted to try some isogenics or maybe they're looking for a job and they're like, whether it's insurance or if they're like, I don't want to do insurance. Like I've got to know a lot of people in the county. I can introduce them to somebody else. Right. Or then 3, if they just want to make a complete all in, let me do this, let me jump on this. Like, like we can go on that journey as well. So again, I feel like I'm just a cheerleader and a coach for wherever people are and whatever they want to do. I just want to jump alongside them and say, hey, let me help you out and let's go.
Fantastic. All right. So if someone would like to have a conversation with you or someone on your team, whether it be about insurance for themselves, or maybe they are one of these other trusted advisors, they're in the mortgage business or in the financial services arena. Let's leave them with some coordinates. What's the best way for them to reach out? Whatever you think is appropriate, whether it's website, LinkedIn, email, phone, whatever works for you. But I want them to be able to connect with you, man.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. So if it's on the insurance side, whether you want a quote or whether you want to get in a career or whether maybe you're a loan officer and or a realtor and you're looking for an insurance guy. So if you can send it at quote@guardianinsurancesolutions.com. That's my email. I've got, 3,000 something friends on Facebook. You can just add me on Facebook. Look up Justin Deweese, Justin Deweese. If you're friends with Stone, we're friends on there, so you'll know that that's me. There's a few Justin Deweeses, not a lot, but that's me. I think I've got like a coat jacket on, and it's like a professional headshot that's on there.
Insurance guy, Justin.
yeah, insurance. I do have a page called Justin Deweese Insurance Agent too. You can go follow that if you just want to do that as well. Yeah.
Well, it has been an absolute delight having you on the show. We got to do this again. One thing that might be fun is to have you come in with one of your mentors or maybe someone like you mentioned from that group or a delighted client. We'd love to hear their story, but also maybe talk about how you collaborate together in terms of trying to serve clients or so don't be a stranger, man, because there's obviously plenty.
Oh, I flipping love this, bro. Like I didn't know what to expect. We didn't really talk about it. We booked it, and then I asked you like for 2 minutes what we're doing today, and you're like, dude, talk about whatever you want to do. And I'm like, seriously? So now I appreciate you just being chill. I appreciate you doing the show, and this is fun. I definitely want to come back.
We will make that happen, man. We appreciate you, and we want you to keep up the good work.
I appreciate it.
All right, this is Stone Payton for our guest today, Justin Deweese with Guardian Insurance Solutions, and everyone at the Business RadioX family saying we'll see you next time on Cherokee Business Radio.